Welcome back to the Weekly Huddle YouTube channel. I'm your host, Owen, and today we are going to be hitting you with another prospect profile from the 2023 NFL Draft Class. Back to my bread and butter. We're done with the skill positions for now, and we're going to be going back to guys that I've been doing the write-ups for on the Dynasty Index, which you can pay for $1 at patreon.com/KIELPRO88. $1 a month, you can get access to all of these different things here, including my big board. And I have individual write-ups for each of these guys, which we'll go over. And today we're doing offensive tackle Dawand Jones from Ohio State. If you're also interested in seeing some of my other write-ups, I'll be writing them for free over on Defiant Takes. They're not going to be as in-depth as these ones with my grades and everything, but you'll get to see them for free, and it's going to help me out as well if you go check those out. So I'll leave a link in the description for that. But yeah, Dawand Jones really showed out at the Senior Bowl, got some real hype and buzz there, seen himself into some first-round mocks. I know I personally would probably have him go in the first round right now, just from physical tool standpoint, not grade, but there's also not a full 32 first-round grades here. So if you're going to be dipping into the second-rounders, you might as well go for someone who has the ceiling that Jones does. But also, it's kind of weird because he has a low floor as well. We'll get into it. So, Dawand Jones, he is a second-round prospect for me. 6'8", 375 is what he weighed in at the Senior Bowl. So, that's about the weight we're going to see when he's coming into camp, most likely. This is when he, after training and stuff like that. I have him as a borderline round 1 grade. Here we have him as the 83. Round 1 grade for myself is an 84. Just an overall massive human being, and uses that size well to his advantage. Has a good anchor, great power, recorded the longest arms in Senior Bowl history, has the arm length of somebody who should be standing at, I think it's 7'4" or 5 or 6, 7'6" maybe, something insane. It's 89.5 inches, and that shows up, and we'll show that a lot in the tape when we get into it. Has a good combination of hand power, length, and hand technique that makes it almost impossible to get hands on him, which masks some of his deficiencies when it comes to pass pro. But like I said, we'll get all into that. Check out all the links in the description. Check out other of the prospect things when we get done with this video, and let's just hop right into the film.
The things I do for love.
All right, Dawand Jones right here is going to be the right tackle, and we're just going to start off this first play. He's a big man, can do big man things, just absolutely clears out this 5-tech defensive tackle here. The Irish ran a lot of 3-3-5 in this game, so you'll see him face these kind of odd fronts in this tape specifically, while also flexing back to even fronts. But yeah, this guy is more of a D tackle, bigger guy. You'd see on the interior, and he just gets moved out of the way. The edge gets sealed. They're trying to run up and underneath here. Works to perfection, gets good 5, 6, 7 yards. Running back finishes off hard. But yeah, good get off too. For somebody his size, the get off is really important. A nice little pad level. You'd be worried about guys this tall playing with too high of a pad level, sacrificing the power because of that. But gets engaged, runs his feet really well, and just is able to bury this guy and get a pancake block, I would say. Back here at the right tackle. Now, this is something that I like from his game specifically. He's a bigger offensive tackle guy, so we saw like that plays well into his power when he's trying to down block on even larger defensive tackles. But here, he's able to come out here and reach the end, give a little chip block, force him inside. The path of least resistance is inside, underneath where the running back's going to be. So this is where he forces him up there before flowing to the next level at the linebacker position. And just being, he's actually a pretty decent second level blocker and mover in space, despite being as large as he is. So not only are you getting that power aspect from him because he is a big man, he's a big man who can move, and he can overwhelm these smaller defenders at the second level, which, again, if he can, being someone who can move that well, it's not, which is kind of rare, it makes it a lot better for him to go up there and block them because, like I said, they're smaller. He can manhandle them a lot easier than he can manhandle these defensive tackle guys, even though he can do that pretty well too. So the combination of being able to move up there and just being larger is really something that's going to be coveted at the NFL level. A real big theme of his tape, again, you'll see him right down here facing Isaiah Foskey, is his length. We talked about how his arms are 89.5 inches long, but he uses that super well when it comes to pass blocking here. I mean, he's able to get hands on Foskey, and Foskey isn't able to really get any leverage on his chest. Like, he grabs his chest. I think it's a little bit of jersey you might see, but like other than that, like, he has him at full arm's length out, totally has him at full extension, and he can't reach him. because his arms are so much longer than the reach that Foskey has. So when you're able to control that leverage like he is, you can cover up for different deficiencies in your game, which you'll see a little bit here with his footwork. It's a lot more choppy and like shuffly. I'm not sure if that's because Ohio State coached him up to do that as their right tackle, or if they coached him up to do that because he was physically incapable of doing a more smooth vertical pass set. That is going to be a more of a problem we're going to see later in his tape, is that he doesn't really move vertically as well, but his length, hand technique, and punch really make up for that. You can see it all here. He's got a quick hands, fires out, gets on the chest, is able to lock out, keep him at full extension, and when you have him at full extension with his arms as long as you have and grip strength as strong as he has, he is able to totally cover up for the fact that he's not able to get up there and attack these speed rushers with athleticism. He's able, if he can get hands on them, he can just lock them down without having to get super vertical. So that might be an issue at the next level with these guys who are speed rushers that don't need to get in much contact to beat you up around the hip. But especially in college, and especially against like mid-tier to low-tier defensive ends, he's going to be able to manhandle them with just his upper body technique and power because he has that much length, which you can see here. Now for one of my favorite things about his game, and something we saw at the Senior Bowl, which really got him attention, was one of his, like maybe even his first one-on-one rep was against Andre Carter from Army. And it's this ability to use his length and hand strength, like we just said. Punch, gets immediate extension, hand strength, snatch. Like he's able to just snatch these guys and drag them down just through the upper body strength he has. Like he's not getting a lot of power from his lower body. He's a kind of high pad level dude, but you're gonna get that from somebody who's taller. But like just the ability to punch out here, use your length to maintain the leverage advantage, and then have the strong enough upper body and hands to just yank these guys down. It's gonna be something he can use against these smaller, fast edge rushers. And now Foskey isn't small, quick twitch kind of guy as it is. He is like an almost first-round prospect in my eyes. I think he's like a borderline second to maybe a late one. And he's able to just get hands-on, grab his chest, and yank him down. And we'll see one or two more of these over this film session. But I just really love this move for him because he's able to just get hands-on and then absolutely bury guys by snapping them down with his strong hands. Which, again, combined with his length, is super elite. Something that like is rarely ever seen. So in this play, it's going to be indicative of something that he's going to have to face at the NFL level, where these high-end defensive ends and edge players at the NFL level are going to be scouting him specifically. And we talked about how good his punch is and how much it makes up for his lack of elite movement upfield vertically or just his foot technique in general. But here, he misses his punch because this guy swipes it away. And that's going to be something that these defensive ends at the NFL level are going to scout. He's got this punch, maybe let's try this swipe move. And if he gets the swipe move off and he stops running his feet. So this doesn't happen every single time he gets hit with a swipe. He has shown times where he's able to continue moving backwards and not giving up a free rush like this. But you're going to get facing this a lot more often. You're not going to just be able to get these free punches on guys who are professionals, and especially the elite ones that you're going to be facing as probably a first-round rookie. So he just needs to do a better job at marrying his foot technique and his hand technique together, so that way he can throw consistent punches while still moving without stopping his feet to try to go all in on just trying to knock this dude out, knock his block off with his hands. It doesn't show up a lot. I still think his foot technique in general needs work, but to become a full, well-rounded offensive tackle prospect, he needs to marry both his hands and feet together so that things like this don't happen. He doesn't allow pressure on his quarterback like he does here. So this play is going to start a little delayed just because it comes in from the graphic. It kind of obscures the formation before they get set up. So he's right here at the right tackle. This is going to be another example of his proficiency in the run game. Not just as a power guy to wash down defensive linemen, and not just as somebody who can flow out and get open in space, but who can combo up to like the linebackers and still inside the box and make good blocks. So he gives a little chip there. The play's going left, so he doesn't have to give a lot to this guy on the right side. And he's able to just cut off this backside backer even though he's trying to shoot. Flips his hips, drives him out of the way, opening up a cutback lane for his running back. And now if that defensive lineman / linebacker, I'm not sure who makes the tackle here. Oh, it's corner, actually. But if he is able to get this cutback off, he's cleared out this entire lane. He has come back, and his job on this play is chip and then get to the backside linebacker. And he does that really well. He has great movement for his size. He's able to go up to the second level fluidly, and he's able to then use that length and strength even more proficiently at the second level. Now, you'd like to see him attach on this block, run his feet a little more, and just bury the guy. But that's the nitpicking at like the highest level. It's still a great play. I don't think you should take away from that because he didn't run his feet enough. I think he shows great movement skills here, the ability to block at the second level and doing his job well, even when asked to climb and do things other than man-on-man, block this guy and move him downfield 2 yards. And the final establishing skill I want to set up for his run defending, when I talked about his movement, we talked about him coming down and exploding on his stance to down block. We talked about him getting out wide in the open field. We talked about him chipping up to a linebacker. Now this is him as a lead-through blocker. Comes up on the second level. He kind of chicken wing arms him. You'd like to see his punch that he uses a lot to get in here and drive this guy back. Again, more foot drive. Still, a big nitpick. He makes the block that he needs to make. Even though he doesn't absolutely blow the guy out, clear him out of the hole, he still frees up the running back to get down here into the red zone, and obviously he does it. So, great movement from him. Doesn't take a big looping pull. He comes off tight off his, I guess that's the center and guard's ass. Comes up, makes the block, and it allows that running back to pop up free. So, I think this is a great example of every single way he's able to affect the run game with power, with movement, different ways. He can be maybe a zone guy even though he's bigger. He can be a power guy clearly with pulls and down blocking. He can get out in open space. He can get up to the linebackers. I think he's an overall great run blocker no matter what system you run because he can do a lot of different things at a high level because of his size and because of his athletic profile. Alright, on to his game against Wisconsin. And here he is, right tackle again. This play, the defensive end here, I guess 5 tech, kind of more out wide than he is. It's kind of weird for the out front for him to be out so wide, but regardless. He crashes inside while this linebacker comes on a delayed blitz to the outside. So instead of just passing this right here, giving a couple shots while he's still committed to this gap, passing him off here and then coming back to the linebacker, he follows him and forces his guard to try to like pin and pull his way around to pick up this blitzing guy who comes free and it gets a good shot on their quarterback afterwards. He's not a good enough athlete of changing direction with agility or getting depth vertically that he's able to pass off guys and be late to identify it and pick it up. He's not good enough to compensate for a lack of identifying quickly. So he needs to not do this. He needs to work on identifying blitzes and stuff like that and reacting properly. This led to his quarterback getting laid out. Again, you would most likely want him to just pass it off inside, then come back out to the linebacker without overcommitting to the inside rush. Let the guard come back and crack back this guy right there. Instead, he follows him in. I don't know if they coached him to do this, but he's not going to be coached to do that at the NFL level. I can tell you that right now. He's going to be asked to just get hands on him, guide him inside before coming back outside to pick up a linebacker. And he's a tick too late and lacks that athletic ability to get over here and make up for his slow mental processing here. So that's something that's easily coachable, but will need to be fixed at the NFL level. So his next play, he's going to come over here and he's going to kick out this wide 9 defender. And what I was talking about earlier with him coming on the down block, running his feet good there, and then maybe not running him as well outside the linebacker when he's up in the open space. This is like a mix of both because he has some good foot run here. He doesn't absolutely bury the guy, which I mean, it's a high-level NFL prospect again. I think there's Nick Herbig, yeah. So I'm not expecting him to absolutely clear him out, even though he has the size advantage. He has some decent leg run here. It's not even that bad. But I think he is most comfortable using his power and running his feet to try to bury guys when he's down blocking to the interior or when he's like sealing the edge. As opposed, he's definitely not when he's out in the linebackers in open space. He doesn't want to have these smaller, shiftier guys use his leverage against him. I think here he's feeling a bit more comfortable because he's able to do that, but it still isn't the same as when he's coming down and down blocking on the defensive tackle. So getting more consistent with his leg drive. It just all ties back to his foot technique really needs to get better. The run, not as much as the pass, but it can stand to grow in both areas. Still gets good power. He's still much larger than most defenders, so he's going to get pushed regardless. Has some good foot run. And, Herbig is more of a technical player, so he has to do some more hand fighting here. And he still is able to clear out the lane and let the running back cut it up here and get a couple good yards. All right, we're going back to talking about his punch again. So we have this D tackle here lined up in the 1 tech. He's going to loop out here and get absolutely smacked in the face. It just gets totally pushed back. He starts at the line of scrimmage, gets about a half yard of depth, and it gets pushed back to the line of scrimmage again. And he has to, retreat and try to attack again. He's able to reset his hands and then get another punch out there, and then the ball's gone by that point. This is a good example of, yes, he stops his feet to throw the punch here, but when his hands get swept away, he doesn't just stand there and let him kind of loop back over. Now, his punch hits more surface here, so he gets more time to recover. But I think he does a good job here and playing off what we talked about back against Notre Dame, where he stopped his feet from running after he threw the punch that got swiped away. He threw a punch, it landed, but then it got swiped off. He wasn't able to, grab onto him and have good grip strength, but he's able to keep his feet moving and then recover and throw another one afterwards. It shows good growth, shows that was kind of an inconsistent outlier as opposed to something he does on a regular basis. Throws a punch, lands, and then resets his feet, gets back to focusing on picking up that guy, getting out in the open field, and the ball's gone by the time the other guy comes by and gets a second punch in the face. More talk about his punch, and I'm going to keep bringing it up whenever there's a great play because, one, it's really fun to see, but I also just like talking about it because it's that one thing that really has him be a transcendent talent, an NFL level talent that yes, he has some clear weaknesses that it's going to force him to take a little bit longer to get up to a Pro Bowl level tackle or something like that. But guys like this who are unicorns in the fact that he can use his hands so well and has such long arms and such strong hands, it's good to keep emphasizing that because some people might just be like, okay, I get it. He's got good length, good punch, but a lot of guys do. No, he has a great level of all those things, which will mean he could probably step in and physically handle the NFL day one. And here's an example of it again, where here he is lined up with the right tackle. He just throws a punch and absolutely rocks this defender's head back. He's, at this point, he gets off the ball. His stuff's good. They're tight right here. They're within this distance. He's not separated yet. He's able to bench press this grown man off of him with such force and violence that actively snaps his head back. And this guy has no chance to get off this block whatsoever. At this point, he's out of the play completely. They could have ran it up here. They could have ran it. He cuts it back, but they could have ran it out here. I doubt even if he tried to run it outside and bounce it, this guy would have gotten absolutely drilled into the ground after, when he tries to get off the block itself. Because he has full control here, full extension, and it's just a good hard snap of his hands. He's able to lock it out and just a great bench press. Now, when it comes to the combine, I don't think he's going to do that great with the actual bench press because long arms don't usually help there. But in the NFL world, when you have a lineman who can just absolutely bench dudes off of him with the amount of violence he's able to get with his hands, it's something that you want to, or people are going to really covet and want to get on their offensive line so they can run behind that guy and have a solid right tackle option to just pave roads for their running back. Here we have another play at right tackle where he's going to get decent depth, but the footwork he uses to get there is very heel clicky, and it's kind of resembling an RPO style footwork where your tackle is doing that shuffle that guards usually do so they don't get caught too deep because the ball should be out already fast enough and they don't get caught downfield. But this isn't an RPO play, it's a traditional pass drop. And I'm wondering if they're telling him to do that because he's a large guy. We saw that a lot in Minnesota with Daniel Falele, because that guy was 6'8", 6'9", 400 pounds, and he wasn't athletically able to really do that traditional kick slide and get depth. So they didn't make him, but they coached him up to do this kind of shuffle, kick your heels together kind of thing. He keeps his base wide and doesn't give up ground. His hands are a little on the outside. I didn't really like that all that much. But he holds up and he doesn't give up pressure at all. It just concerns me for when he faces NFL talents that are able to, have a lot of counters, utilize his momentum against him, and really capitalize as soon as his base gets shorter. And if you convert that speed to power, how well is he going to hold up if he's not doing a traditional kick step? So you're either going to have to run a lot of RPOs and hope he can learn in coaching before you get to more pass-heavy concepts or formations, or you just throw him in the fire and let him work and let him learn on the fly. You might have to give up some pressures early on, but if you can correct that, he might just be one of the top right tackles in the league if he can get his footwork down because of how elite his other traits are. And like I said, here his weight and his hands make up for the fact that his footwork isn't great. So he's able to cover for it, but I don't know if that's going to be the same story at the NFL level. And one last one. This one was just added for fun. Right tackle again. This is showing off his punch and length and hands, and oh my god, you keep going on about it. Don't worry, this one's just for fun. I keep beating it like a dead horse, like he's about to beat this defensive tackle. One punch there, second punch there. This D tackle is 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Get a third punch there. He just absolutely bullies this little dude. He's not able to, he's not even little, to be honest. He's just that big. Even though he doesn't have a great head level, he's able to just absolutely punch him and keep him from doing anything at all on this play. Just absolutely bullying him with 3 hard punches. Just whoosh. And then he's like, okay, I got nope. Okay, let me try again. Punch in your face. And he's just 3 yards downfield. So yeah, I keep beating this dead horse. Like, he beat this defensive tackle basically to death with his punches. But yeah, I just thought this one would be fun to add and end this Wisconsin tape on. Now, our final game is going to be here against Iowa. Iowa, with their, they're kind of known to be produce these NFL level talents on the defensive line and the front seven especially. And they're also known for these edge rushers who are kind of bulkier, bigger, can reduce down inside. So the guys that he's going to be blocking here on the edge are going to be guys that also are going to be able to give him a little power, give him a little struggle there with. He's not going to have little Nolan Smith or like these 240-pound dudes that he's able to just throw around with one hand. These are going to be guys who are pushing 280 that he's going to have to actually put some effort into. And so when he's able to power block like he does on this play, it's actually a lot more impressive than a couple of the other ones we've shown so far. So he's on the move, getting lateral, and he's still able to get good push. Kicks this guy out here. He's at a wider alignment, so it makes it a little easier. But he's able to get great push, good hands, strong, on a bigger bodied guy that Iowa typically runs out. I don't know how much this guy actually weighs, but he's probably pushing like 270, 275. That's what their traditional weight is when they play for Iowa. And yeah, he's able to just get great movement, great power, even when he's not down blocking. He's coming out into the flat. He's getting the lateral, and against a bigger defender, gets some good push because he has that power. He has that size. Another bully play by him here, using his length on this defender. Same defender. It's just like, it's like that scene in the bully movies or bully shows where the guy has his hand on the little kid's forehead and he's trying to swing at him, but he can't physically hit him, and he's laughing. He gets his hands on so quickly, boom, he's already on, full extension. This guy is not able to reach him. He has to just keep retreating to try to come back and make another pass rush attempt because his arms are so long, he keeps them out of his chest, he loses that leverage immediately, and he basically gets wiped out for this. He's not going to get any pressure whatsoever because you need to, especially when you get higher levels like this in the Big Ten to the NFL, you need to get pressure almost immediately because his balls are out every 2 or 3 seconds. If you can get this punch that gives this guy zero chance of getting any leverage and beating you with any kind of pass rush move because he's not in any contact, and you're not worried he's going to run around you, even though if he was smaller, probably wouldn't have been able to avoid that and would have got even more devastated, to be honest with you. It's just he's able to keep him out of his chest and really delay him to do nothing, and the ball's out before he even can initiate the second rush attempt. So it's just another way to show his importance of his length, just how dominant the length he possesses really is and how well he uses it in pass pro. We're bringing it back to my favorite part of his film here. He's going to take this pass set, hands on, and snatchies. Lands right on him. This is a 375-pound man laying right on top of this guy. He's out of the play for the rest of the time. Like, there's no way he's getting up. You're not forcing your way back up. Don't mind the interception. He's not forcing his way back up. He gets hands on. Can't put a pass rush move on. Tries to attack upfield because, okay, maybe if I can't, get through his chest and put a move on, maybe I can just run around him. He's a bigger dude. He's probably slower. And then as soon as you try to, reduce your size and go more towards your flexibility, trying to use your flexibility and bend around, he's just going to use your momentum against you and yank you down and then lay on top of you like a freaking boulder. Like a whole fridge just on top of you. This guy is done for us to play. And more hand grip strength, length, knowledge of how to use his hands in pass pro with that grip strength and length. It's something that's rare, especially early on in somebody's career like this, who's going to be a rookie, even though he's a senior, but has no NFL playing experience. You rarely see this from NFL athletes. So I just really like his snatch move here, and he's going to be able to use that a lot, especially at the NFL level against these smaller guys, or bigger guys, to be honest. He's that strong. And now I mentioned earlier, I think it's back in the first film we watched, is he's kind of scheme transcendent, where, he's a bigger guy who can use that power in a power gap scheme. He can be the puller. He can chip up the linebackers. But here we see, with very minimal chipping, he's able to cross this defender's face and seal on the backside. The inside defender that could have blown this play up. And that's more indicative of like a zone concept, like more stretch plays, wanting to get the outside, not trying to like open up a specific gap, allow the running back to read and find a gap. You need to have that backside sealed off, especially at D tackle. And he's able to explode out of his stance, get over a gap with minimal chipping from the guard, and seal that. So I think maybe it's not the strongest thing he does, but he is going to be capable of playing in different schemes, or at least if you want to switch it up, if you are in a power scheme and run a couple zone plays to keep the defense honest, he won't struggle. He'll be able to hold up. And yes, this play isn't the best example of one that goes good, but that's more of a failure on the guard than it is on him. He does his job. He does a good job of it, and just shows that he has some good lateral movement for a big man. Now, our last play here is going to be another pass set, and it's something we haven't really touched on at all today, and it's kind of because it's obvious. We're going to talk about his anchor, and you're thinking, or a lot of people must be thinking, well, he's 380 pounds, 375 pounds. There's no way guys are going to be able to drive him backwards and really get him off his block and physically out push him, especially with how you've talked about his arms and hands and stuff. Well, when guys do get in his chest, he does have the setup to, just be a big dude, you're not moving me. But at the same time, when they're this tall, 6'8", they lose that pad level a lot. They lose that leverage. And it's harder to find a guy who plays with that height that can also be low pad level, and if someone gets in his chest and can't use his length well, to drive them backwards, they aren't getting driven back. They keep a wide base, and they're able to still win the leverage battle despite being probably 4 or 5 inches clear of the guy they're facing against. And Dawand Jones is able to do that. So this guy is able to get into his chest here and can't get any movement whatsoever. He gets him moving vertically, tries to turn it back up into power. He defeats the hands immediately. He's in the chest right here. It's just good hand fighting, good wide base and not get driven back whatsoever. And then he stonewalls him so hard he's able to flip his hips and start driving with his feet forward. I really like the hand fighting here. I like the ability to keep the wide base and keep his anchor down and his pad level down even when being pushed upfield. And then, that tenacity to just keep driving, block until the whistle, get that guy out of the way so the quarterback, if he needs to roll out right, can get out there. I just think it's a good example of how someone like Luke Tenuta last year, who was 6'7", 6'8", at Virginia Tech, he wasn't really able to do that good pad level. And even though he was a taller guy, you'd think he'd be able to keep guys out of his chest. They would get in his chest and push him back a lot. I think Dawand Jones, despite being taller, plays with a good pad level and is able to hold up against power rushers, even if they are to get into his chest and defeat his arm or defeat his length. But that is the prospect profile for the right tackle, Dawand Jones. I really like him. I think he has these unicorn-type traits that you see that really cover up some of his negatives as well. The length, hand technique, and grip strength he has, combine those all together, it's something really rare we haven't seen. And it covers up a lot for the foot technique deficiencies. One of the nitpicky ones was when he runs his feet, his lack of running feet when he gets in contact with linebackers in the open field, or maybe when he's in screens, which we didn't see a lot. But mostly when he's trying to get depth and he's trying to get deep in the Ohio State offense. I don't know if they coached him up that way because of his lack of athleticism, or that's just how they taught him. I think that needs to be reworked if you're going to be an offensive line coach, unless you're going to run just strictly RPOs. We kind of saw that a little bit with Jordan, not Mailata, who was the Daniel Falele from Minnesota last year. That's similar, where they had to rework him because they ran a lot of RPOs to minimize how much depth he needed to get, because he was kind of like this, where he was 6'8", 400 pounds. I think Dawand Jones has that elite trait that really makes him stand out, that makes me want to take him in the first round, makes me want to kind of reach for him. He's not a complete prospect. He's a really great run blocker, super advanced from the hip up, from the hip to the neck in pass pro, because his mental IQ when passing off and accepting blitzes and stunts is not up to snuff, really. I wish he was a little better at that, but that is something you can really coach up. He just needs to be able to process those quicker, because he doesn't have the vertical speed and the agility and athleticism to make up for a lack of identifying those quickly. He needs, if you're gonna not be the best at identifying those, you better be a super athlete to be able to make up for and be in those oh shit moments, turn around and make the block to not get your quarterback sacked. And I think at the NFL level, Dawand Jones will not be able to do that, so he needs to be able to think faster and pick those things up. But elite traits, especially in his arms and his size, able to move guys, able to hold up in pass pro, and you just got to tweak some things with some good coaching, and I think he'll be a really strong right tackle prospect for you, with not much maneuverability out of right tackle, if I have to guess, just lack of athleticism and too tall to play guard. But other than that, that is the end of this video. You can go check out the rest of my 2023 draft content, including other prospect profiles, in the playlist on my channel. To check out my free, kind of less detail-oriented, no-grade kind of thing, write-ups on Defiant Takes Football. I'll have the link in the description. If you want to see every single one of my player grades and every single one of my player write-ups, you can pay $1 a month to patreon.com/KIELPRO88, KeelPro88, and support me and Caleb while we're just trying to get some good draft content out for you. And then other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one.